that's coming in. Pope Francis' funeral at the moment is underway. President Murmu, Donald Trump, Zelensky, they are the ones who are in attendance. As we speak, Macron, UN chief and the EU chief also in attendance. The visuals that you are seeing coming in from the Vatican City, Pope Francis' funeral underway.
Along with the Pope's picture.
Maria è nostra madre e regina del cielo.
Now, soon after today's funeral service, we will see the Papal conclave. The Papal conclave is held to choose the next successor. The question now everyone very keenly is looking at, who will be the next Pope? Once the decision is taken, then we will see those famous visuals where the Pope will emerge and step onto the balcony in the Papal to greet the crowds at the St. Peter's Square in the Vatican City. Now, this Papal conclave is a very closely guarded gathering of all the cardinals that are elected. All serving cardinals under the age of 80, they get to select the next Pope.
And with recollection in Holy Mass, and to refrain from raising banners or waving flags.
Visuals that you are seeing on your screens coming in from the Vatican City, the funeral of Pope Francis taking place at the moment.
La procesión de entrada nos introducirá en la
My colleague Shashank Mattu is now joining me on the phone line. Shashank, as we are speaking, the funeral service of Pope Francis has begun. And you know, once the funeral service is over, Shashank, the big question and all the eyes will once again turn to the Vatican City. Who will be the next Pope?
No, absolutely, Aishwarya. I think that's the big question because at this point in time, the Catholic Church is confronting some big questions about its future. Pope Francis, of course, who just passed away, was considered to be a great liberal reformer within the Church, took positions on certain issues such as, for example, rights for the LGBTQ community, expanding the Church's influence into various other parts of the world. That was a legacy, but that was sometimes controversial among more conservative parts of the Catholic Church. Now, the election for his successor would decide a lot of things about how the Catholic Church shapes its doctrine going forward. We know that the papal conclave to elect his successor, which will bring together really around 200 cardinals from around the world, including from India, will take place in the first couple of weeks of May. There will be several rounds of voting to select the next pope. Of course, lots of politicking obviously going on right now with suggestions that we could see the first pope from Asia or Africa this time to succeed Pope Francis.
Right, Shashank, you know, one of the things that a lot of people at the moment are very closely looking at, who will be the next Pope? Can it be an Asian? That's a big question.
Simon Ioannis amas me, contristatus es Petrus, quia dixit ei tertio, amas me. E dicit ei, Domine, tu omnia scis, tu cognoscis quia amo te. Dicit ei, pasce oves meas. Amen, amen dico tibi, cum esses junior,
the funeral ceremony of Pope Francis is now taking place at the St. Peter's Square in the Vatican City. President Draupadi Murmu is in attendance. US President Donald Trump is in attendance. Zelensky is also present for the funeral. Prince William, Spanish royal family, all of them are present in the Vatican City for the funeral of Pope Francis. The funeral is being held at St. Peter's Square. From India, it is President Draupadi Murmu, Union Minister Kiran Rijiju. They are the ones who are in attendance.
invited to participate with faith and with recollection in
in
Holy Mass.
questa maestosa piazza di San Pietro, nella quale Papa Francesco tante volte ha celebrato l'Eucaristia e presieduto grande incorso.
As we are speaking, the funeral of Pope Francis is now taking place in the Vatican City. The funeral will take place at the St. Peter's Square.
Attorno alle sue spoglie mortali,
The royal family, the Spanish royal family, Prince Williams,
ma sorretti
they are the ones who are in
dalla
attendance at the
certezza
moment.
della fede che ci assicura che l'esistenza umana non termina nella tomba, ma nella casa del Padre, in una vita di felicità.
In fact, the coffin that you are seeing, there are traditionally 3 coffins, one inside the other. And in those coffins, the mortal remains of the Pope are kept. The first is the cypress coffin, symbolizing humility, and then a lead coffin, and then the outer is the oak coffin, which often represents dignity. This burial practice takes place beneath the St. Peter's Basilica, and that's what you are seeing on your screens at the moment. Now, these 3 coffins, they symbolize Pope's earthly life, the spiritual legacy that he's left behind, and protection.
Il plebiscito di manifestazione di affetto e di partecipazione che a tutti abbiamo visto dopo il suo passaggio da questa terra all'eternità ci dice quanto l'intenso